Now that I have my tablet, I'm going to click on ODK Collect so that I can start my data collection. I've already completed my site information, so I'm going to click to conduct a transect. Here, I'm doing an inland survey. Click that button and then touch Next. I'm going to choose which survey site I need to go to, and right now, I'm going to do this one. First, I'll start with Transect 1. As soon as I do that, I just click Next. Because this inland transect will be 12.5 meters, I know that I need to have 2 surveyors. Each person will survey 1 meter wide. Click Next. So here we are at a coastal site, so click Coastal and then click Next. Choose the exact survey that you're going to do based upon the list provided. Here, I'm going to do a test site, so I touch that and then click Next. My colleagues are doing transects 1 and 2, so I'm going to start with transect 3. The transect at this coastal site is almost 24 meters, but we record transect lengths in whole numbers, so I'm going to round it up to 24 meters. All river, coastal, and inland transects that are 12.5 meters long are 2 meters in width. Touch that button and then click Next. All my coastal and river surveys need 2 surveyors. Next, I want to record whether there is a large amount of debris in any particular area on this coastal site. The answer here is yes. This is where debris accumulates due to the high tide. The distance from the water's edge to the dominant debris line is 13 meters. So I enter that number and then click Next. From the water's edge to the top of this survey transect is a bit steep. It's actually more than 1 body length in height, so that distance is between 2 and 4 meters. Click that and then touch Next. Here I need to record the dominant substrate type, whether it's mud, sand, pebble, cobble, boulders, rock slab, cement, or coral. Pebbles are the small pieces that are bigger than sand but smaller than those slightly bigger rocks. And when the rocks are really big, then we call them boulders. This beach here is pebbles mostly. You're going to record the dominant substrate type even in the instance where there are multiple types of substrate at a site. My pebbles are mostly grayish in color, so I'm going to click that and then touch Next. They're mostly shrubs, which are shorter than 3 meters at the backshore vegetation at this site. So click that button and choose what best matches what you see in terms of terrestrial vegetation. At this transect site, when I look to the right and look to the left, I'm actually in a bit of a cove. It's shaped like a smile when I'm looking at the water. Click that and then touch Next. I use my compass to tell me the direction that I'm standing when I'm facing exactly towards the water. At this site, I see a few bags of scattered household-looking rubbish, so I click that button and then touch Next. In some areas, we find high amounts of construction-associated debris, which has clearly been dumped there. Then I would click Construction and then touch Next. Next, we record evidence of recent activities. Can you tell if there's been a cleanup, a storm, or a flood? Click what you find and then touch Next. Here's where you add your comments if you have any extra information to add, where you add any information that you haven't already been asked to enter. Next, you record your name. Whoever is recording the actual data on this app is the person whose name goes here. Here's where you record your surveyors' names. Typically, this will be 2 people when we're conducting a coastal, a river survey, and for most inland transects as well. Next, I want to record the geolocation for where I am. Click this button and wait for the app to get its location. You cannot save the location information until you're at a maximum of 10 meters. The point will automatically be saved at a resolution of 5 meters. This is where our transect start location begins. Note that I tried to get a location, but it was more than 20 meters, and so the app asks me to wait. Now we record the start time for the beginning of the transect. Make sure that the start time is exactly when you're getting ready to begin. Click Next. The next thing we want to do is to take a photo from the beginning of the transect looking down the end of the transect. If you're happy with the photo, please click OK and then Next. I only need to take one photo as mandatory, and if I want to take additional photos, I can do so now. Here's where you record whether or not you need to subsample. If there's too much litter to count over the entire transect, click Yes to subsample, otherwise click No. Here's where you record in the first interval whether or not you found any human-made item. If yes, then record the distance along that interval range. It must fall within the interval. If you did find an item, after you record the distance, record the type of item that you found. Here we found soft plastic. After you record the distance along the transect edge, please click to determine what type of item you find. Is it hard plastic, rubber? Choose from one of the categories here. If you're unsure or it doesn't fit one of the categories here, please click Other. Next, you have the opportunity to record exactly what that other item was. If you don't see the item that you found on the major list here, first try Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous items are items that we find that don't fit clearly under one of the other categories, but that are still found with some frequency. If your item doesn't fit into one of the major categories, you may need to click the Other button. In this instance, you then record the exact type of item that you found. After you record the type of item, in this case a beverage bottle, I then need to record whether it's a whole or a fragment. Because this is the first item found, I'm then going to record the size class of that item. Next, I'm asked whether I found anything else in that interval distance class. In this case, the answer is yes. Here I can summarize all the different items that I found and whether they are whole or fragments. So after I record the first item, I'm asked whether I have any other items to record. Now, when I've completed the first interval, it takes me to the next interval and asks me whether or not I find any litter on the ground. Once we've recorded the location at the end of the transect, then click Next. Record the end time for your transect. Click OK. Don't forget to take a photo from the end of the transect looking back down to the transect start point. You have now finished this transect. Please unclick the box so that you can save the form, but that you can still go back and check to make sure that all the information is correct. Your form will now be visible from the View Sent Form tab. For carrying out our trawl surveys, again you want to record the organization that's responsible for the survey. You also want to record the name of the person that's completing the data entry sheet. Please then write down the email address for the person who's recording this data. Enter the country in which the survey takes place. Record the name of the river or the nearest town. You'll then have the calendar appear so that you can record the date of the survey. Please record whether or not you're using a CSIRO-provided net or your own. Enter the salinity if known. Enter the sea surface temperature in degrees Celsius if you know it. Record the station number for this trawl. Remember that there are 3 tows for each trawl station. Record the tow number. Record the current sea state. If it's really calm and flat, the sea is like a mirror. A light breeze on the water means that you do not see any waves cresting. You should not be out conducting trawl surveys in near gale or gale force winds. Typically, when you're doing trawl samples, you'll have calm seas to a light or gentle breeze. Record the direction that the wind is coming from. Use your compass to get this information. Please record the number on the flow meter just before you put the net into the water. Record the geolocation when you start your tow. Once you record the location where you start the tow, click Next. Record the start time for your trawl. Remember to record the vessel speed. It shouldn't be moving more than 2 to 3 knots per hour. Record the direction that the vessel is traveling in degrees. This needs to be between 0 and 360. If known, please record the depth of the water in meters. When you finish the tow, please record the geolocation. To check the information that you've just entered, go to the Edit Saved form. Find the site that you just completed and click on it. This allows you to scroll through and make sure that you have all the accurate information and that you didn't miss anything for your survey. Once you've verified that all the information has been entered correctly, click the Go to End button, and now you can mark the form as finalized. After you've clicked that button, save form and exit. However, if you have finalized the form, you will not be able to go back and make any other changes. So when in doubt, unclick the box and just save the form and exit. It will then go into cloud storage, and from that, we will collate all that information for our analysis before we provide it back to you.